Picture this: a revolutionary tech startup, a charismatic CEO promising to change the world of medicine, and a billion-dollar valuation. Now, imagine it all coming crashing down. Welcome to the story of Elizabeth Holmes and her company, Theranos. Theranos, a health technology corporation, promised to revolutionize the medical industry with a device that could quickly conduct a wide range of tests from just a few drops of blood. Elizabeth Holmes, the charismatic and young CEO, was hailed as the next Steve Jobs. She managed to attract illustrious board members and investors, propelling the company's valuation to $9 billion. But beneath the glossy surface, things were not as they seemed. The groundbreaking technology didn't work as promised. The company was using commercially available machines for most of its tests, while the innovative Edison devices were unreliable and inaccurate. Yet, Holmes and her company continued to mislead investors, patients, and doctors about the capability of their technology. Holmes' ethical decision-making, or rather the lack of it, played a significant role in the downfall of Theranos. She chose to deceive and manipulate, prioritizing personal gain and the success of her company over honesty and integrity. The unraveling of Theranos began in earnest when a series of investigative articles by Wall Street Journal reporter John Carreyrou exposed the company's fraudulent practices. These revelations triggered a cascade of legal and regulatory actions that eventually led to the company's dissolution in September 2018. The fall of Theranos and Holmes is a stark reminder of the consequences of unethical behavior. It shows us that the allure of success and the pressure to deliver can sometimes lead individuals and corporations astray. So, how did it all go so wrong? To understand that, we need to delve into the world of ethical decision-making in business. At its core, the Theranos Scandal was a case of disastrous ethical decision-making. But what exactly is ethical decision-making, and why is it so crucial in business? Ethical decision-making, simply put, is the process of making choices that are morally right and respectful of the rights of others. In business, it's not just about making a decision that will bring in the most profit, but also one that upholds the values of honesty, fairness, and integrity. Let's take a look at the process. It starts with recognizing an ethical issue. Is this a matter of right versus wrong? Legal versus illegal? Fair versus unfair? Then, it's about gathering information, evaluating the options, making a decision, and finally, reflecting on the outcome. It's a cycle that continues with every decision made. Now, why is it so important? Well, consider what happened with Theranos. The company, once valued at $9 billion, collapsed. Not because of a failed product, but because of a series of unethical decisions. The leaders chose to mislead investors, doctors, and patients about the capabilities of their blood testing technology. They put profit over truth, and the consequences were devastating. Unethical decisions can lead to lawsuits, damaged reputation, loss of trust, and in Theranos' case, the dissolution of the company. But it's not just about avoiding negative consequences. Ethical decision-making is also about fostering a positive corporate culture, building strong relationships with stakeholders, and ultimately, driving sustainable success. In the words of Warren Buffett, it takes 20 years to build a reputation and 5 minutes to ruin it. That's the power of ethics in business. Every decision matters. Every choice has an impact. Ethical decision-making is not an option, it's a responsibility. Clearly, ethical decision-making is crucial for any corporation. But what guides these decisions? Let's explore some philosophical theories of morality. In the world of ethics, there are two main camps: consequentialist theories, which focus on the outcomes of actions, and deontological theories, which focus on the actions themselves. Let's dive in. Consequentialist theories view the morality of an action as entirely dependent on its outcome. The end as they say, justifies the means. There are several types of consequentialist theories, but let's focus on two: ethical egoism and utilitarianism. Ethical egoism posits that an action is considered morally right if the outcome benefits the individual performing it. In the case of Theranos, if we apply ethical egoism, we might argue that Elizabeth Holmes's actions were ethical as they were aimed at promoting her own success. However, this theory has its critics. They point out that it can justify actions that harm others, as long as the individual benefits. This brings us to utilitarianism, another consequentialist theory, which suggests that an action is morally right if it maximizes overall happiness or minimizes overall suffering. If we apply utilitarianism to the Theranos case, we might conclude that Holmes's actions were unethical. While her actions might have initially seemed to benefit her, they ultimately led to significant harm to patients, investors, and employees, outweighing any potential good. But let's shift gears to deontological theories, which argue that the morality of an action is intrinsic and not dependent on its outcome. In this view, certain actions are inherently right or wrong, regardless of the consequences. For instance, lying is considered inherently wrong in deontological ethics. So, in the Theranos case, Holmes's actions, such as misleading investors and patients, would be considered unethical regardless of the potential benefits she might have gained. Both consequentialist and deontological theories provide valuable perspectives in evaluating ethical dilemmas. However, they are not the only tools we have at our disposal when discussing ethics. But one cannot discuss ethics without mentioning the role of virtue. Let's turn to virtue ethics. What kind of person should I be? This is the question at the heart of virtue ethics, a philosophical approach that goes back to Aristotle and Confucius. Let's start with Aristotle, the ancient Greek philosopher who wrote extensively on the nature of good and virtue. According to Aristotle, virtue is about finding a balance between extremes. It's the golden mean. For instance, courage lies between recklessness and cowardice. Aristotle's Nicomachean Ethics is his exploration of moral and ethical conduct. He posits that the highest good is eudaimonia, often translated as happiness or flourishing. And how do we achieve eudaimonia? By cultivating virtues, habits of character that help us act in ways that benefit us and our community. Now let's take a leap from ancient Greece to ancient China, where Confucius was formulating his own ethical system. The Confucian moral code is built around the concept of ren, or benevolence towards others, and li, the right way of doing things. Confucius believed that moral virtue was the path to societal harmony and personal peace. So how do these age-old philosophies relate to our modern world, and specifically to the Theranos case? Well, if Elizabeth Holmes had adhered to the principles of virtue ethics, she might have made different decisions. According to Aristotle's golden mean, honesty lies between deceit and brutal honesty. Holmes veered too far towards deceit, ignoring the balance that Aristotle advocated. And what about Confucius? If Holmes had considered ren, she would have prioritized the well-being of patients over personal ambition. And if she had followed li, she would have respected the established protocols of scientific research and business ethics, rather than disregarding them for personal gain. In the end, virtue ethics is about character. It's about asking ourselves, what kind of person do I want to be? And it's about striving to become that person, not just for our own benefit, but for the good of our community and society. While virtue ethics focuses on the individual, corporate ethics deals with the behavior of corporations. Let's take a look. Corporate ethics is more than just a buzzword. It's a vital aspect of running a successful and responsible business. It's the foundation upon which companies build their reputation, and it's the guiding light in the decision-making process. It involves principles like honesty, integrity, transparency, and accountability. Consider the case of Theranos, a company that initially promised to revolutionize healthcare with its innovative blood testing technology. When the truth about their fraudulent practices was revealed, it served as a stark reminder of the importance of corporate ethics. The fallout was colossal, not just for the company, but also for its stakeholders. Now let's talk about governance. Corporate governance is the system by which companies are directed and controlled. It's about balancing the interests of a company's many stakeholders, such as shareholders, management, customers, suppliers, financiers, government, and the community. Effective governance is crucial in preventing financial fraud. It provides a framework for attaining a company's objectives. It encompasses practically every sphere of management, from action plans and internal controls to performance measurement and corporate disclosure. Let's delve into two fundamental principles of corporate governance: the duty of care and the duty of loyalty. The duty of care refers to the responsibility of the company's directors and officers to make decisions in an informed, diligent manner in the best interest of the company. The duty of loyalty, on the other hand, requires directors and officers to put the company's interests ahead of their own. In the Theranos case, these duties were evidently ignored, leading to disastrous consequences. Corporate roles, rights, and responsibilities are also part of the governance framework. They define the power dynamics within a company, and when clearly outlined, they can prevent conflicts of interest and promote transparency and accountability. One of the most important aspects of corporate ethics is the protection of whistleblowers. Let's explore why. The Theranos scandal might have continued unchecked if not for the courage of whistleblowers. But what protections exist for these individuals? Whistleblowers are individuals who, often at great personal risk, expose illegal or unethical activities within an organization. They're the unsung heroes, the watchmen who hold corporations accountable. But they need protection, and that's where whistleblower statutes come into play. These are laws designed to protect individuals who report wrongdoing from retaliation, such as being fired, demoted, or harassed. In the United States, one of the most significant whistleblower statutes is the Sarbanes-Oxley Act. Passed in 2002 in the wake of the Enron scandal, it includes strong protections for whistleblowers in publicly traded companies. Under the Sarbanes-Oxley Act, companies are prohibited from retaliating against employees who report suspected fraud or other violations of federal laws relating to fraud against shareholders. Now, let's circle back to Theranos. The company's downfall was largely due to the actions of whistleblowers like Tyler Schultz and Erica Chung. Despite facing intimidation and threats of legal action, they bravely exposed the truth about the company's fraudulent practices. Schultz, a former Theranos employee and grandson of a board member, was one of the first to blow the whistle. He raised concerns about the reliability of the company's blood testing technology, only to be met with hostility and threats of lawsuits. Chung, another former employee, also raised alarms about the company's practices, leading to a regulatory investigation. Their actions underscore the pivotal role whistleblowers play in maintaining corporate integrity. Without their courage, Theranos might have continued to deceive investors, patients, and the medical community for much longer. Yet, even with laws like the Sarbanes-Oxley Act, whistleblowers often face significant hurdles. They risk their careers, their reputations, and sometimes their personal safety. Therefore, it's crucial for society and lawmakers to continue strengthening protections for these brave individuals. From individual ethics to corporate governance, the Theranos case serves as a stark reminder of the importance of ethical decision-making in business. The story of Elizabeth Holmes and Theranos is a cautionary tale for all businesses. This scandal serves as a stark reminder of the importance of ethical decision-making. A lack of transparency, deception, and disregard for legal obligations led to one of the biggest corporate downfalls of the 21st century. It underscores the vital role of corporate ethics. At its core, it's about doing the right thing, even when nobody's watching. It's about creating an environment where employees feel empowered to speak up without fear of retaliation. The Theranos case also highlights the significance of solid corporate governance. Robust checks and balances, rigorous oversight, and a commitment to accountability and transparency are crucial for any business to thrive and maintain public trust. As we've seen, the consequences of ignoring these principles can be severe. So, let's learn from the past and strive for a more ethical future in business.